What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Voice Visions. This is a very special episode. It's actually the first of a new series that I'm calling Off Brand. Got my boy Josh here. I am Voice, of course. This is my boy Josh. We've known each other, I don't know how many years now,
Since middle school.
basically since middle
Yeah.
school. And the reason why this is special is because it's our first together. We've been talking about this all year long, doing a
Yeah.
podcast together. Again, it's going to be called Off Brand. Why? Because it's not just going to be a regular interview. We're going to be talking about, different range of topics and
Yeah.
want to keep it as open as possible. 2020, man, what a year it's been. We got Corona. We got presidential elections.
We have the Heat in the finals.
That's right. Marlins made the playoffs first time in 17 years.
The Tampa Bay beat the Yankees, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, the Rays beat the Yankees.
As long as the Yankees lose, man, I guess. They have like 27 titles, so that to me, like,
Yeah, that's overkill, man.
and the Tampa Bay is actually doing pretty good because the Lightning, the hockey team, they won the Stanley Cup. So
Yeah, that's right.
That's crazy how like
Florida, bro.
I know. Well, speaking of Florida, yesterday it wasn't really a good day for Florida in terms of college sports, football,
That's
college
right.
football. I know UM lost to Clemson.
They got destroyed
Yeah.
by Clemson.
You can't beat them. Like,
FSU lost to Notre Dame.
yes, and UF. That was a close game. We lost by 3 points, and it sucked because I haven't
Yeah.
watched like a UF game like completely in a while. So
Yeah.
yesterday's game hurt because we lost by 3 points, and it's like you were saying that game. It took place at the Texas A&M Stadium, and it was pretty packed. And not only
Yeah.
was it that packed, a lot of people weren't wearing masks. Like I'm not, and like we're not.
Like, we're not.
But like, imagine a stadium full of people, and then
Yeah.
Twitter's just going off like, "Hey, look at these assholes without masks, spreading COVID." But the thing is, like, I think it helped in a way because imagine you're the opposite team, right? And you can't hear your O line, you can't hear what the
Right.
player about to call. There was this one play like Trask was gonna call, and it got so loud, the crowd got so loud, he had to call a timeout.
I wonder if
And,
they
yeah.
had a fake crowd noise too. So
No,
it's like
no, man, no. That was all people.
I
You
went
can
to
tell
the-
the difference. You can tell the difference. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I went to the FIU game this weekend. It was FIU and Middle Tennessee. Yeah, just fake crowd noise.
But wasn't it like
And-
limited attendance?
It's limited, but it's limited enough. It's FIU. Unfortunately.
Hey, I went to FIU.
So-
I'm an FIU grad. I'm
Yeah.
currently studying at University of Florida, the hybrid.
Cool.
So no disrespect to FIU. Like that's my alumni, so I can talk. We can talk shit about it. So.
Yeah. And we're actually in the heart of like Coral Gables right now. So
Not only in the heart, we're next
Yeah.
to our high school.
yeah, Coral Gables
Coral
High
Gables
School.
High School. So
Yeah.
anyone's watching from Coral Gables High School and class of 2013.
Go Cavaliers.
Yeah, I hope you guys are doing great. I know it's been a minute. I've been thinking about it's already 7 years since we graduated. Isn't that crazy? Like
Don't remind me.
I know. But I'm just saying, like, hey, like if you guys, whoever sees this, like, I hope you guys are doing great. For those who are not with us anymore, it's sad, but it's this goes out to them too, in a way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they're-
Because like, I guess we're gonna speak to them for them.
Yeah, they're here with us in spirit, I guess.
Yeah. So it's you're right. 2020 started with like the Iranian conflict. Remember that, like World War III, or was our biggest issue.
War was like a tweet away.
Yeah. What's crazy is that COVID started like pretty much like a year ago in October
Yeah.
in Wuhan, China. Apparently there was this a lab that they didn't really do their protocols well. I'm
Right.
pretty sure all of you have seen Contagion, and that movie is just like this virus that starts from a bat. That was the original theory, but they were saying it was just a scientist who went outside. He didn't really do like the cleaning protocols correctly, and that's when it started. That's when when the first case opened or appeared in October. So it's about to be a year. But the thing is, about a year ago, no one cared. You hear something like that out of China, you get that pretty much very often. It
Right.
wasn't until like November and December you started hearing about it spread in China. And then in the new year, after January, after February, that's when things
Europe started feeling it.
started to get really, really
And
intense.
still, like us Americans, we were just like, yeah, this is a problem over there. It's not
Yeah.
that big of a deal.
Absolutely. And then
It'll never reach us.
yeah, man, it's looking back, there was like a whole bunch of miscalculations,
Yeah.
judging of this thing. And I'll be honest, previous outbreaks that we've had, it's like that. You don't really think it's gonna be that big.
Right.
Like the H1N1, it did
Right.
get
Swine
big,
flu.
but it
Yeah.
went away after a few months. You didn't hear about.
We didn't miss school. We didn't.
Right.
It's
We didn't ever have to
crazy.
wear masks. We have our masks here, by the way.
yeah.
We just I feel it's better.
We're just
to record.
rebelling for the moment.
Right, exactly. And then
Yeah.
was it the swine flu? Yeah, that one's been getting a lot of attention recently because since it's election year and
It's been
politicians
politicized, right?
politicians are playing politics. They're saying well, what about Obama when swine flu was on and a lot of people got it. And you can use that argument, but COVID is just a different monster.
It's a different animal.
It's gotten so bad that even with the I don't even want to say cure with the vaccine, if it's mandatory or not, people are going to be suspicious and skeptical about using it.
Right.
And-
Which I mean, I think it's only natural. Some people might be gung ho, like, yeah, I'm gonna take the vaccine, but it's like, I guess, just not knowing, fear. I guess fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
That itself just takes over you.
But if there's a chance to eradicate it or begin the process of eradicating it, it'll be great because even like I was saying, well, the point I was trying to say is even with the vaccine, it's not going to be until 2022 when this is completely gone because think about all the places it's spread already. Forget it, man. It's everywhere.
That's the thing. It's I wouldn't know. I don't know if to call it a healthy balance, but there has to be a balance between being concerned of this virus and then also, we have to the notion that we have to just live with it. We have to keep going. We have to keep living. We have to keep working. We have to keep, businesses open. And,
Well,
so,
even during lockdown, there was a whole bunch of people that still went to work.
that's right. I worked.
I think you still
Yeah, I
went
still
to the
work.
office. I was one of the privileged where I kept working from home like many others. I wasn't furloughed, thank God, but I know a lot of people that were.
Yeah, I know. People.
And before all this, we became fans of this. He's not even a politician, Andrew Yang, and he was the first mainstream politician to make universal basic income a popular thing to talk about.
That's right.
And then what's crazy was in February when they started talking about implementing a stimulus packet. Guess who was getting all the calls? Andrew Yang. And then March and April, they signed the thing, and we got $1,200. Well, the lucky ones
Got
did.
it. Yeah, got the
1,200.
the commas in the bank. Yeah.
Yeah. What's crazy is ever since then, April 15th, since I got mine, there hasn't been another.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm one of the lucky ones. There's a lot of people that never got theirs, or even even if they did get it, 1,200 in 6 months? Is that enough? It's
really
very
not.
hard money to stretch.
Yeah.
And at this point, anything helps. This is beyond politics. There are people who are completely losing their homes, losing their jobs, losing their cars. They're selling their cars. It's crazy. So apparently, this guy says if a stimulus package
Trump.
lands on his desk, he'll
Yeah.
sign it immediately. But these guys, Congress.
Everything's politics.
politics.
Apparently.
It sucks, man.
Yeah.
And speaking about that, I want to talk to you about Bill Burr. I don't know if you look. No, I get it. No one watches Saturday Night Live religiously anymore. But every so often, there's a good guest appearance. And I think last night was a really great guest appearance.
Yep.
We're fans of true comedy. Bill Burr is a true comedian. His opening monologue was just straight fire. For those of you who haven't watched it, he just goes on and he just roasts a whole bunch of people, white people, Pride Month. What else does he do? Make fun of?
I guess just cancel culture.
Cancel
all
culture.
of Twitter.
Yes. So his comedy is like that.
Yeah.
He just wants to provoke a
He
reaction.
definitely
and he did.
tests all the boundaries on that one.
So it was great. It was funny seeing Twitter just have a complete meltdown.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious, man, because everything he said is so spot on, and it was so great. And also, Jack White was the musical guest appearance.
That's right.
He made the guest appearance because they originally had someone, like a country artist, and then because he like broke protocol,
Oh, I
they
didn't know that.
canceled his stuff. Yeah, like his appearance. So
Wow.
they got Jack White. And what's cool about that is that he had a Eddie Van Halen custom made guitar uh, for last night, and he just completely shredded, and it was awesome. So if you haven't seen, I think I sent you a link. See it.
Yeah, no, I saw
He's
that.
great. He's great. He's
I
Jack
didn't
White.
know that.
For those of you guys that don't know, he was the lead
Yeah.
guitarist for the band The White Stripes, and he then went
Dun,
solo.
dun, dun.
Yeah. And he
If
talks about that, like,
Yeah.
how like it's crazy, like how like years and years after that song came out, they use it at sports venues.
If
like,
you're a
religiously.
Heat fan, you have to know
Yeah,
that.
because that was like the song they used to chant at
Yeah.
when LeBron was here.
Yeah.
And we made it far.
The inside 2 minutes.
I'm sure, like,
would play that.
I'm sure, like, if COVID wasn't a thing and we were playing at the AAA, they would still do that, man, because that's been crazy too. Like this team, like honestly, I'm a diehard Heat fan. I've been watching the Heat since like 2006 when they first won the NBA championship with Dwayne Wade and Shaq and Alonzo Mourning, and I've been a fan since then. But honestly, this year we got Jimmy. And we got Dragic, and
Right.
we traded a whole bunch of people. We traded Josh, all those people, Winslow.
That's right.
I honestly thought we were gonna make it to the first round, maybe even the second.
Yeah.
But everything after, I was gonna tell myself, hey, if we make it anything afterwards, it's just grace and just
Right.
extra. It's just like the icing on the cake. So I'm very proud of the Miami Heat. I think anyone who's like a fan of the Miami Heat should be proud, regardless of what happens in this series.
Yeah.
And this last game, oh my
Jimmy,
god.
rested for like 48 seconds? I think
Dude.
I saw something.
That game was fucking explosive on both ends, bro. Everyone's been talking about like that Jimmy Butler versus LeBron.
He's really
duel.
just showed his own, like.
Dude, and yeah, dude, and
Yeah.
oh man, just like imagine like a full 2 minutes of just going back and forth, and no one wants to give up. That's just true. Like he sacrificed it all. So props to Jimmy Butler. If you ever see this, like man, like you done more than enough, and we really like sincerely can't thank you.
Yeah.
And so look, bro, I'm repping like the Miami Heat today because I think they play tonight, Game 6.
Game
you know,
six.
And they were down 3-1, and now they're 3-2. This game is very pivotal.
Yeah.
And I'm rocking your merch, man, because it's so awesome, man. Just to be the Miami Heat fan right now.
You know, it's incredible, like, just the turnaround, like in the media. You know, he was just known as the guy who was blowing up,
Yeah.
you know, rosters left and right. You know, not getting along with his teammates, and you know.
Yeah, so he's first with the Bulls, then
Yeah,
the
and the
Timberwolves,
Bulls,
and then he went
yeah.
to the 76ers.
Yeah,
and
and, like,
the whole
he-
locker room drama.
Yeah, and,
So
and
the
how their
thing-
fans
yeah.
treated him too.
No,
so.
the media, bro, crucified him.
Yeah.
So check this out. Like, if any of you like still feel that way, he made a podcast with his former teammate JJ Redick.
Yeah,
the Ringer.
great podcast.
Yeah, and it's a great episode because he talks in detail. It's like an hour-long episode, and Jimmy Butler just like points out all that was wrong with everything that they were saying about him.
Right.
And what's a better source than the source himself? And he says like, yeah, man, like those teams, they didn't really care about winning. We would lose a game, they would go into a locker room or conference room, and all the team would do is watch footage. And that's it. Like footage will be over. No one would say anything, and then there'll be a game day again. And then Jimmy, like after a while, he's like, "What the fuck? Isn't like the coach
Yeah.
gonna say anything?
Right.
Like we're losing. We should like at least he should like guide us, lead us, And then he goes into details. So it's a very recommended episode. It's very funny. Like Jimmy Butler is a really down to earth person. Duncan Robinson also has an episode.
He's another surprise too.
Yes, him and
Yeah.
Tyler Hero.
At least Tyler, like
Yeah.
he was like a top 15 pick or something like that.
Oh yeah.
But Duncan Robinson, undrafted, he had
played,
to
like
go
the third,
to
like what do you call it, like the
Division 2 or
Yeah,
Division
the
3. He
Division
was a
three.
transfer to Michigan. I mean, nobody expected it from this guy. He just scored 26 points last game.
He's been showing
off
up.
threes.
Yeah. I'll be honest, like the first few games against Lakers, he was nowhere to be found. Well, it's not like
Right.
he was nowhere to be found, but he was just like missing shots. And
Right.
imagine like you throw these like 20-year-olds. He's 26, but Tyler's 20. Imagine them throwing them against LeBron and Anthony Davis in the first finals.
Right.
So it's a lot to ask for, but luckily, they bounced back. And Duncan Robinson, he also has another episode. He lives in Wynwood, well, like Midtown.
Oh, like the area.
So that
No,
episode
no.
where with JJ
we
Redick,
gotta
he
do
talks.
an episode with him.
Well, hopefully, like, hey, if you're listening, like, we'll be down.
Yeah.
And he talks about like his experience in Miami because he's from Massachusetts,
Massachusetts.
right, originally. And he's like, yeah, it was a big like kind of culture shock.
Hmm.
But he likes the restaurants now. He says like the food here is great. And, he's been liking it so far. So to the whole Miami Heat team, was just like, man, just congrats on making that far. You guys beat the Milwaukee Bucks. You guys,
Yeah.
well, first of all, you guys have swept the Pacers.
That's right.
Yeah, you beat Giannis, and then
Back-to-back MVP too.
Yeah, and defensive, right?
Yeah, I believe he got that. He's like only one of like 3 players to get that award.
I honestly think in that case, Anthony Davis did get snubbed, but whatever. And then to beat the Celtics, that was a great series.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and then I honestly thought like like the NBA. There's always like conspiracy theories to put like the Lakers and the Celtics.
Yeah.
In the finals.
Yeah.
I honestly thought it was gonna be that after like Game 6, because they were coming back, and when we won, I was like, all right, cool. Lakers and the fucking Heat. That's great.
Yeah.
And I think you showed me a link that China is starting to censor those games because of this whole bunch of like Houston started it, right? Like
Yeah,
China was like censoring games.
I don't know if it
because
was
of
the general manager
Yeah.
that spoke against China, and what they're doing over there,
Yeah.
which we can't be silent about either. They have it's the Rohingya people, I think.
Yes.
I might be pronouncing that wrong.
Concentration camps.
But yeah, these people are being forced, to work. Was it hard labor?
Yeah. So just because like they practice like their religion.
Yeah, I believe they're Muslim actually.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, but
there's a lot going on over there. I haven't really been up to speed, but there's
Hong
a lot
Kong,
of what we see
Hong
here.
Kong, Disney
Hong Kong,
releasing
all that.
Mulan and having
Which
their
is
controversies.
ironic, yeah. It's ironic because LeBron speaks for activists apparently,
Right.
but when it comes to China, he's like silent.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like you can't have it both ways. You can't
Right.
get your Nike sponsorships and not talk about being completely an activist.
Yeah.
So it's politics. At the end of the day, so it's all about making money. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. What I am excited to see is how the league is going to be after this. Apparently, they're going to start again in December. So imagine like this season just ends. They're going to have what, like two? Well, these two teams are going to have
Hopefully
like
they
2
give them more
weeks.
time. Yeah. I know the MLS. They finished their bubble in Orlando
Oh, okay.
like in the middle of the summer, and then they started again.
Playing
I don't know,
like in
September,
yes,
or August.
I think
So-
right now too. Yesterday, the
Pull that up, Joshua.
Houston, yeah, Houston Dynamo. Oh look, yesterday we won.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
I was watching
Miami
it.
team. Yeah. They Inter Milan beat Inter Miami. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Beat the Houston Dynamo, 1-0.
They were playing in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Hey, props to Higuain, props to Morgan. Those guys are really great in that team. So best of luck to you guys. So yeah. Again, like we're here in Merrick Park, so all this ambient noise you hear is just people walking
Yeah.
back and
just people
forth.
walking their dogs.
Yeah. We were next to the Nordstrom store.
Yeah.
We luckily found like a place here to sit down. It was raining. It still is kind of overcast.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna lie, it is a bit humid, but that's South Florida weather for you. So all this noise you hear is actually people. And I was telling Isaac, if it weren't for us telling you about this pandemic, all this noise would be, how it sounded before COVID.
Right.
Before all of this became this like tragic mess.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how like so much can change in a couple months, because I honestly didn't think it'd get this bad. And for a lot of you people, who are home, just feel like you guys are just stuck there, cabin fever, quarantine. It's so cliche to say, but a lot of people are feeling that. And a lot of people are starting to go out. Leave it to the United States to like politicize it, right? It's like wearing masks or
Wearing
not.
masks.
I think a great
shutting down
example.
businesses.
I think a great example to follow would have been Japan's method. There's a country of like 130 million people, and only like I think like 3% or even less got infected, and their cases like not.
I think they had a pretty strict lockdown too.
But what I've noticed about Asia, a lot of Asian countries, when someone's sick and they make an effort to go outside somewhere, you will always see them like a mask. And not only that, but sometimes there'll be like the pollution too,
Yeah.
right? So like a lot of these like Asian countries, there's hella pollution, so they wear masks. But I remember like pre-COVID, whatever, like you would see people on the subway wearing masks, it will be very rare to not see someone who's sick and not wearing a mask. So leave it to us, to like decide whether that's something.
Right.
Yeah.
And these elections are coming up. We're less than a month away from finding out who's going to be the next president of the United States, whether it's Trump or whether it's Biden. And I think I put it on my Instagram story. I had like the weirdest dream
Oh yes, you did.
that I was like talking politics with my family, and Biden for some reason just pops up, and I asked him what fracking, I guess from watching the vice presidential debate, they were talking about fracking. So in the dream, I asked Biden like what fracking was, and Biden's like, that's when we break down the economy, and he gave me like a bottle of hand sanitizer, and just poof, just walked away, and it's the weirdest dream. But it kind of just, I guess, tells us like we are with social media now. We're so bombarded with politics. Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg are shoving the voting stuff down our throats. And we were actually talking about that I think yesterday. And I asked you, I was like, do you think that Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg, do you think they actually vote? And I think you said, oh, that's what they want you to think.
Right.
But who really knows? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
Who
we're
really
not gonna
knows
go.
what these guys do?
We're not gonna go that deep, but to be honestly, like
Yeah.
they have so much power
Yeah,
that they can influence
yeah,
a lot of more people to do the voting for them.
yeah.
That's the way I see it. Think of it like chess. Like if you have your
We're
pawns.
playing checkers. They're playing chess.
Yeah, exactly.
they're a whole new-
So if you
whole
have your
new ball
pawns,
game.
they do the hard work. You can stay in the castle and not do shit. It's very interesting because the other day with the debates, the presidential debate was a disaster on
Yeah.
both
the
sides.
third one, I don't know if it'll happen.
No, it's canceled.
Yeah.
So what? Due to this guy getting COVID, and Joe
He
Biden
wants,
said
he wants
like,
to do it in person, I think.
he wanted to do
Trump
it in
wants to
person,
do
but
person.
he hasn't been cleared.
Yeah.
I know, like yesterday, the doctor said he's not a
I read
transmitter
that.
anymore.
I read
but
that. He's not like
yeah. So he's
contagious.
but it's not official that he's negative. Oh shit.
Yeah, it's
Right,
alright.
right, right.
It's cool.
Yeah. I'm not scared of rain.
Just a little bit of water.
Yeah. So Joe Biden was like, until he's not here. Oh shit, is that?
What is rain? All right, guys. So we actually had to relocate because the security guard did not believe in our First Amendment rights. If we're not spending money at the mall, apparently we needed a permit. It is what it is. But we are back. We are here in the mayor's.
No, City Hall for Coral
I'm sorry, City Hall of Coral Gables, and we're back. Let's get it going. I think we can pick up after the elections.
A douchebag in a Corvette. Yeah,
Hey,
just
bro.
looking at us like, ruining our audio. Yeah. No, so we were talking about, before we left, we were talking about the elections coming up. The debates were a disaster. The presidential debates were a disaster, completely. Like, when you have CNN saying that there was a disaster, and they usually, go for the candidate on the left,
Right, and
regardless.
it's not biased.
Right,
like,
right. Well, it is biased.
Well,
CNN is biased.
well,
but
I
I'm
meant-
saying,
I meant,
like
yeah,
their
in that
judgment,
sense.
their judgment of that debate,
Yeah.
for them to say that it was a lightning storm,
disaster
and
on
a fire
both sides.
storm
Right,
on both
right.
sides, things got serious. And then when we saw the presidential debate, that brought me back to politics before 2015, where politics was just boring. But now, since because we don't see it that often, it was actually a breath of fresh air. You
Yeah.
get me? Because before 2015, we didn't have to worry about Trump, and now every day he's just tweeting or saying something outrageous, and he's a comedian, man. That's I'll give him this. Like, that guy is
Yeah.
super hilarious when it comes to like playing politics. Like, he just gets like the right people angry, and then it's playing 5D chess. You get me?
Yo.
And then that fly, like the thing about politics, you get me, like, they focus on just one thing, Like, for example, the presidential debate, there was this one fly that, stood on Mike Pence's head, and then everyone just started making jokes. So, like, the overall message gets lost, and, like, okay, Mike Pence is just full of shit because
Right.
a fly landed on his head.
I guess
You know?
depending how you look at it, some people were like, "Oh, even the fly chose Biden and Trump." I mean,
True, true.
Trump.
That is true.
And
That
Pence.
is true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But no, like how you said, it was a big breath of fresh air because you got to actually see the ideologies between these two candidates. Where in the previous debate, I mean, it was just a shouting match, you know.
Interruptions,
Yeah,
everything.
will you shut up, man?
Yeah, that was funny. The funny part was when Trump says like, "Oh yeah, like I've held like less rallies than you," and then Trump was like, "Yeah, because no one goes to yours anyway."
Right.
that was
No
funny.
one
bro.
shows up.
No one shows up, bro.
Yeah.
That was funny. He's a comedian, man. Like he's been doing this entertainment thing for like 30 years. So
Yeah.
he has on the roll. I'm gonna say something very controversial, and I hope you guys don't. Well, who gives a shit? Like we can say whatever we want.
Fire away, man.
So, this year we had a lot of candidates, potential candidates in the Democratic nominations. We had the most diverse cast ever. And then for it to end with Joe Biden, it's almost like a slap in the face. And not only did he pick like one of the most like, I guess you can say, like infamous district attorneys for the state of California ever. Like no one really likes Kamala Harris. She has like this bad track record. Have you ever seen that Tulsi Gabbard video of her roasting Kamala Harris? She just completely annihilates her. She's like put away people because they had like minor marijuana offenses, and then they actually created a collage, like a picture collage, of all the people that Kamala
I
Harris
saw that. Yeah.
has prosecuted, and it's like so many people, and so not many people like Kamala Harris, and I think that's really gonna affect Joe Biden. First of all, Joe Biden also isn't like what do you say, like a champion, like a champion of the people politician.
This is like his third, fourth time running for president.
Yeah, and then his way of doing things is just like, hey, I was vice president for Obama. Like this is how it was back then. I'm gonna do the same thing as it was. And so like people aren't really attracted to that. If anything, people were like Bernie more. And then he's not in the nomination.
At least I would say like the youth vote was more motivated
Right.
to vote for Bernie Sanders.
But at the end of the day, like the Democratic Party, they nominate who they want.
Yeah.
And they pick Joe Biden, and to be honest, like they're throwing him at our faces, and I'm not feeling it. But also, I'm not feeling Trump either. That guy's, it's just. We seen it. We seen what he is.
Yeah, and I'll say something. I guess unapologetic. Because I voted already. I don't know if you've cast your ballot.
Okay,
yet.
just you only talk to it if you want to say it. If you feel
I'll
comfortable
say it.
saying it.
And I voted for Biden. Okay. I think when I have to compare him versus Trump, like who will be the one to give us the most positive outcome out of from the virus and from the economy and from like who will give us the most positive outcome. Personally, in my opinion, I'd like to see. I would like to say Biden would be the candidate for that. I feel like Trump just fans the flames, makes things a little bit worse, or if not a lot worse. He's only a tweet away from energizing, white supremacists and with everything going on, so that's just how I feel about it. But just like you, I loved Andrew Yang at the beginning. I loved Tulsi Gabbard at the beginning. These were politicians that had bright and new ideas and really energized the
base.
The base, and they had, like I said, UBI and Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, she was against foreign policy, and this is someone who served.
That's right. Never-ending wars. Right.
She actually mentioned the war machine. You don't hear that much in Washington.
Industrial complex, military industrial complex.
So it's. I have a question though. Well, how do you feel about people voting third party?
I mean, I respect it. Vote in general. I vote. I voted. I exercised my rights. Anybody out there watching this video, exercise your rights to vote. But third party, to me, it just helps Trump. This is how I feel about it. Reason being, we have. I don't think it's BS. I think there is a large silent majority, and they're gonna turn out for Trump. It's just they're gonna do what they want to do. You know, they're on fire for Trump, and that his base is gonna go out and vote. But I think the Democratic vote gets split when you have a third party. Shout out to I think that's an ambulance. That's an ambulance. Shout out to our men and women.
Oh yeah.
You know, fighting COVID out there, first responders. Anyway, but yeah, that's how I feel about it. I feel like a third party vote is just it helps Trump, but that's just my opinion.
Okay.
How do you feel about it?
Here's the thing, because just the fact that you're saying that third party voters are helping Trump just goes to show you how bad of a candidate Joe Biden is. Because
Yes.
if it was the opposite, if they
Okay.
actually pick somebody like you know that the left, the youth, the people who are like desensitized about politics really liked,
Okay.
we wouldn't be having this conversation. Those third party
That's a good
voters would stick by the Democratic nomination, and there aren't. So that itself, when you're saying that third party vote is helping Trump, that to me just tells me that Trump is gonna win by a landslide.
I
And
think
that's
so.
that's a controversial part that I want to talk to you about, because
I agree
it's
with that.
looking like that way. Because I don't know if I've told you lately I went out of the state, went to the rural area to visit some family.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who they support in all those rural areas? Guess.
Not Biden.
Not Biden.
I can
But
guess.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing we saw in 2016. In 2016, Republicans have a really good track record of doing this. When they take a nomination, they stick to it.
Right.
Like they
right.
completely like. There's only one guy right now in Washington who's not really sticking by, John Bolton. He said like, I'm not gonna vote for Joe Biden, but I'm not. I'm gonna write the name of another Republican. Trying to be sneaky. So, but the party overall, like once they have a candidate, like a nomination, obviously Trump is a nomination now. They stick by him. They don't be like, okay, well, what about this other Republican? What about this other Republican over here?
Right.
And I think that's the problem like the Democrats have, because even still to this day, people are writing in Bernie Sanders. They're writing in
Kanye
even
West.
Kanye West. Man. like, look, Kanye West to me is one of like the greatest artists
Yeah.
of our generation. But what he's doing is honestly, at the end of the day, free press to himself.
Mm-hmm.
Because all he does is, he has, music albums that he doesn't release when he says he's gonna release them. He has this Merc, Adidas, and now he's gonna work with Gap. So all this press that he's doing on himself, that for sure isn't helping nobody but himself. You know what I mean? So when you say that third party helps Trump, it's reminiscent of how it was in 2016 of people who voted third party, and then the results, they were blaming third party voters for costing the election and giving it to Trump. But here's my thing. If people were so energized, if the 100 million people who didn't vote in 2016, if they felt compelled to vote for somebody, Trump or Biden, then you don't blame the third party voters. You blame the people who don't vote at all. And I think that's a serious problem in our country still, because I think, 50 million people voted for Trump, 50 million people voted, 53, somewhere along that line, voted for Hillary, but then the rest of the country didn't vote. So more people didn't vote. They're the ones who, like, if anything, should be blamed. The ones who don't vote.
Right.
And it's like you said, even though we're like shoved down our throats, like all this politics, voting stuff, at the end of the day, a lot of people still don't
There's a
vote.
large percentage they're still not going to turn out. I was having a great conversation with my mom, and my mom is definitely a Christian conservative, so she has her own views on Trump and
Okay.
and my dad too, and I respect their views and their beliefs. But one thing that we definitely agreed on is the huge amount of partisanship in the politics. So it's not just the face, it's the party.
Okay.
And it's, I think that's what's really dividing this country the most, where you have, Republicans or Democrats just fighting for the party, for the team, right, rather than the candidate.
Okay. Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
vote,
yeah, I can say that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that's really just it's blurring the lines. Really, it's just messing up politics because people will ride or die Republican or they're ride or die Democrat, and again, you're not voting for a person anymore. You're just voting for a party.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I think that's what happened with Tulsi.
Oh yeah. So she was one of the ones that didn't really vote.
She defected.
Right. She didn't really vote on that.
Yeah.
Impeaching Trump, right? So she got so much slack.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So
I get what you mean, but to be honest, like that's always been politics, and we can talk about politics all day.
It's always been, but my point is, I just in my opinion, I feel like you're seeing it more.
Yeah. So it desensitizes people.
Absolutely,
right? Yeah.
absolutely.
Which I think it's important. Like a lot of the youth are starting to see that, and they're starting to create their own groups. Like I hate Turning Point, but it's like this, this kid, he's just doing his stuff. AOC, she's motivating a lot of people on the left too to just like stand up for what really they believe in, and I think that's important because with the technology that we have, and we have to thank technology for this. Without technology, like we wouldn't be able to do this.
Yeah.
So the youth is really starting to see that. The people the thing about the people now voting, it's a lot of them who are over 65. They're voting for our future. When they're pretty much like gone, we're gonna be the ones stuck with whatever they vote, which is very important. So, in a way, those people who are actually like standing up to do stuff, to change the future and to make a point about what they want to change, that's really great. Yeah. So, and I know like our previous, we did a previous podcast before this. It wasn't released, but we were talking about George Floyd and how people were protesting in the street. And one of the places that they protested was here in Miami. I wasn't in the area. I was on a road trip, but you actually went to one of the protests, right?
Yeah. We I was just looking on social media, different, like you said, different groups, different, whether it was Black Lives Matter or just different groups, organizations rallying to do, protests. And it's funny, like the one that went south was the one I went to. And the one that was actually done here in the Gables at the police station was actually pretty peaceful.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I saw like videos and just pictures of people holding hands with the officers, praying. And,
wow.
And again, people can have different opinions of how successful, or how meaningful, right?
Yeah.
Things like that can be. But all in all, again, like I said, it was peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
And the protest that I went to in downtown, the majority of it was also peaceful. But again, of course, it went south. I don't know why, but at the police station, the officers or the police station decided to put these two cop cars, barricading where the cops were. And
I think the entrance, right?
Yeah, right at the entrance, and I think it was pretty stupid because those cop cars became accessories. People started jumping on top of the cars, spray painting. Again, the bad apples of the bunch, which there were a lot of bad apples. I had my water bottle, and somebody was trying to take my water bottle to throw it at one of the officers. Point being, like, right at the end of the protest, because we walked around I-95, we walked around Wynwood, we walked around, the Midtown area, Bayside area.
You went with your friend, right?
Yeah, with one of my friends, Stefan, ex-Cal, in the building. Shout out to him from Peace of Mind. And like I said, majority of it was peaceful. Then it went south. There was tear gas. My friend and I actually had brought his friend, Kim. So if you're watching this, Kim, shout out to you too. We were like, let's get out of here. So we started walking back, or actually running back. The police were like shooting rubber bullets. Again, tear gas, and then we just left.
I would have gone, but I was in Oklahoma. I was like on a road trip to Seattle. So
you were in Trump country.
Dude, and that's the thing. I'm like, when you sent me that notification that you were going, I felt the need to be next to you and be part of this because it is important.
Yeah.
We need police reform. We need not only police reform, we need education reform too.
Yeah.
And that's what, at the end of the day, what they're fighting for. All that you see, all that like cancel culture, like you can have that. At the end of the day,
it doesn't do anything.
Right. Not only that, but like at the end of the day, like what they really want is police reform and education reform. I mean, that's an important thing because honestly, that's it's a very very at a critical point, at a breaking point, as we've seen. And I feel unfortunate for Breonna Taylor's family, who are not gonna indict the police.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other case. But I'm just saying, like, we're seeing that more often in the United States. So there definitely needs to be more accountability when it comes to that.
I read this, not to interrupt you, but
No, go ahead.
I read this morning because I had a school assignment, had to like go through different news stories and stuff and find out international news stories. And one of the international news stories that I had used for my article is in Nigeria. They just got rid of what's called SARS, obviously not SARS, the disease, the respiratory disease, but SARS. It's like a special investigation unit, something like that, for robbery. It's basically like a SWAT, and they got rid of it because of so many years of police brutality, and it's been months that they've been protesting out there. So they actually, the president just abolished the whole section.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I was seeing that trending on Twitter, but I didn't really know what it was like referring to. I thought it was just referring to like
stuff.
I thought I was just referring to SARS, like like the
outbreak.
Yeah. So because there's COVID and everything, I was like, oh, Twitter's just like, talking about it because it's something like familiar.
Yeah.
And but no, that's crazy. Like, I didn't know that. I had to look into that.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is like 100 years ago we had the Spanish flu, what they call the Spanish flu, the outbreak in 1914 to 1918, probably even more. And what's very interesting is that outbreak didn't originate in Spain. It originated, I think, in Oklahoma, like here in the United States, in an army base. And because those kids were going to World War I, that's when it started spreading over there in Europe.
Wow.
Yeah. So for every time I hear like the Spanish flu, it's like people think it's the Spanish who created it, and it wasn't them. It was actually originated here, and it spread over there.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's this song, which is why I mentioned earlier Jack White's performance on Saturday Night Live. He played a song called "Jesus Is Coming Soon," that was originally by Blind Willie Johnson, like one of the best Delta blues singers ever. In that song, he mentions the Spanish outbreak, and he mentions like there's a virus outside, and people are just living in fear. And so it was crazy for Jack White to do that because it's very relevant still, like 100 years later. Yeah, so it's crazy. It's crazy. When I was looking at my phone right now, it's my cousin. He was saying that the Dolphins are actually doing pretty good right now. I just checked the score. They're playing the 49ers at this moment, and they're winning 14-0.
Oh,
He's like, oh, Finns are destroying, and I'm like, wow. So that's my voodoo, man. That's like my voodoo magic. Because when I watch games, bro, the Dolphins just don't do well. And then when I don't watch games, the Jacksonville one, remember, like, I didn't see that game at all, bro. We dominated. And then right now, apparently, we're dominating too. But then again, like, if the 49ers, the 49ers have everyone injured.
They did have a couple injuries.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if George Kittle's playing at tight end. I think he was injured.
But at week 2, like, they completely got, like, injured. So everyone started making fun of them. It's like, whatever team, like, loses to the 49ers, like, yep, go play, like, Division 2, and so I'm pretty glad, like, the Dolphins are winning. Keep it up. And, shout out to Coach Flores.
Hey,
trust the process. We got Tua. Like, let's not put it in yet, right?
Yeah.
I think it's too early.
Just let him learn and let him. We'll see.
Yeah, he's being mentored by
Fitzpatrick, the beard.
Magic, it's magic, the beard.
Yeah.
So that's wish him the best.
Yeah.
So I think we covered a lot today.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think we did a great job. Again, this is off brand. So another. What was it that you called them?
Douchebags. Yeah, straight up douchebags. Yeah.
Oh
yeah, finish.
Yeah. This has been off the brand or off brand. I screwed up the name. Off brand. Just two friends sitting down. Just talking about life, talking about the different things that are going on.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, we're in Miami, Florida, and we known each other since middle school. We know a lot of people that went to school with, like, around this area. So if you guys are watching again, hope you guys are doing great, and You know, reach out to Isaac if you ever want to do this. You know.
Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, be part of a conversation.
Exactly.
You know, that's what this is about.
Exactly. It's not like just one way or the other. Yeah, I mean, don't ever feel like you need to be, I don't know, forced into opinions like that are not your own.
Right.
And that's a discussion that we want to have.
Yeah.
You know, free discussion, unedited, unfiltered, all of that.
That's right.
Yeah. So thanks again. Again, we're sorry about relocating. It wasn't our fault. We just got kicked out, out of Merrick Park. So.
But the show must go on.
So show must go on.
Yeah.
The heat. Yeah.
And we got here, and hey, we did it.
Yeah. So, thanks again, Isaac, for allowing me to be here. It won't be the last time we do this for sure. There's so much to talk about.
Yep.
Especially like a month from now, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens after these 2020 presidential elections. Yep. So thanks again for having me here. And until next time, man.
Fist bump, we can't have too much contact.
Yeah. All right. Peace. Bye, everyone.
All right, guys.
All right.